Hello, guys and gals, me Mudahar, and today I want to talk about something pretty sweet, ladies and gentlemen. I think I may be on the cusp of solving some sleep paralysis problems. Now, for anybody that's watching, if you haven't seen my stuff for years, or maybe you just tuned into my channel like a day ago, I have sleep paralysis issues. So let me start off by telling you what sleep paralysis is, so that you can understand better what I've had to deal with since I was a goddamn teenager. So sleep paralysis is like this. Imagine you wake up a little bit, like you're in the process of waking up, but your body doesn't completely wake up, okay? So imagine you're up, you know that you're awake. You know that you're supposed to be conscious and lucid. You try to move your head a little bit, but you realize that your head can only really touch the edges of your neck socket, whatever that's called medically, okay? You might try to move your fingers and you might realize, oh, I can't really move stuff. You think you can move things, but you can't. And it's an episode that can last for, a few seconds to sometimes a few minutes. It really does vary. And it is probably one of the freakiest things that I think I can explain to somebody. And I never would wish sleep paralysis on my worst fucking enemy, okay? Now, the way that sleep paralysis tends to operate is there is something to do, I guess, with your head, with where you're at. There's something to do. I believe the understanding is it happens when you have REM movement that is maintained into when you're waking up. Now, I've looked at people who have had recurrent sleep paralysis. They call this RISP, and I haven't been diagnosed with this. But the thing with RISP is that obviously these are things where, at least in a case like this, the fear of sleeping, which is what I've always kind of called it, for me at least, I have a genuine fear of sleeping. They talk about things like, for instance, a 16-year-old girl who seeks medical attention for anxiety symptoms, sleep paralysis, and associated auditory and tactile hallucinations 3 years before worsening in the last year, causing fear of sleeping. They were so intensely frightening, they caused negative impact in patient sleep, school performance, and social function. Now, sleep is such a wild thing for me that I've talked to people that have sleep issues. I would say the worst are probably my insomniac friends who literally they will lay in bed, try to fall asleep, just doesn't work. Now, the thing is, I have been afraid of sleep to the point where I just literally try not to. And you can never really escape sleep. Sometimes it will just come for you when it wants to come for you. So for me, if I try to sleep, okay, and I'm worried about that sleep paralysis, just that fear alone keeps me awake. It keeps me up. There's a lot of things that I've discovered about my body that just don't make sense. For instance, if I have a full large coffee, an hour before sleeping, that'll actually kind of help me fall asleep sometimes. It's fucking weird, okay? Sometimes caffeine works in an opposite way for me. But sleep paralysis never truly stops coming. It's one of those things where I chronically have to deal with it about every week, a couple times every week, a few times it's at worst. And it's one of those things where it's people who experience it a few times, they say it's one of the scariest things. And then for people that keep experiencing it over and over again, there's definitely a big medical issue. And I've done the entire gauntlet. I've been through my studies. I have absolutely tried every single thing to fight this stuff. White noise machines, fucking sleeping in Minecraft was an attempt. But obviously, for me, that was more of a novelty of creating worlds and exploring them. And then obviously using it as a way to sleep, having the audio of the Minecraft world, living under the Minecraft stars, but you can't have a VR headset on your eyes every single night, okay? It's just going to be bad in another way. You're trading one issue for another potential issue. So the thing is, I've tried machines, machines in the sense of little galaxy generators for your roof that you can look into, but that ended up being really distracting. I've done things like melatonin. I've done all of the stuff that people have recommended, the audience, family members, other sleep experts, people who suffer the same stuff, and nothing really has truly really helped me in any meaningful manner, right? Maybe it's helped for a week or two, but I think sometimes that can just be a placebo. It always just goes back to the shitty paralysis. It's one of the reasons why when I see streamers do those try not to sleep challenges and shit, it pisses me off because it's man, why are you entertaining and bringing actual sleep damage into your life? One of my favorite non-gaming creepypastas is the Russian sleep experiment. Probably is my favorite creepypasta in general. And it's one where you have, people who are being tested and forced not to sleep for 30 days. And after 5, 10 days, they start screaming incoherently. Because if you don't sleep, not only are you causing long-term damage to yourself, you're invoking things like heart disease to come in at a faster pace. Like, I have fully accepted that I've probably shaved off a few years of my life, I don't know, maybe 10 years of my life by this fear of sleep and my chronic lack of sleep, that I'm going to be paying the debt in the long term. And it pisses me off. But unfortunately, it's this weird thing where, like, I wish I could normally sleep. I wish I could, go to bed at 10 p.m. and wake up I wish it was just, I wish I was like a computer where, like, I could, like, lay in bed, open up a little, like, fucking start menu, click, like, log off or sleep, and then just wake the fuck up at a specific time. I wish it was that easy. I really fucking do. If I could get my brain chipped where that was a possibility, absolutely. If I could get my brain chipped to remove dreaming as a potentiality, absolutely would love to. That would be fucking awesome. If I could have that chip jolt parts of my brain to just wake me up to not be paralyzed, motherfucker, I would be the first human being at the Neuralink. I would let any billionaire chip my brain if I could relieve myself. When you look at sleep deprivation, after 24 hours, you're already looking at things like slow reaction times, which is understandable. After 36 hours, you're looking at brief lapses in consciousness, which is scary to even say out loud. After 48 hours, you literally can feel out of body, temporal distortions. And of course, after 96 hours, if the absolute meth binge that you're on keeps you up, you are looking at just incoherent bumbling, extreme paranoia, and constant hallucinations. And of course, tap it all off, seizures. It's not a good experience. And it's one of those things where, like, I'm somebody that just has a lack of sleep. People always say, Moody, you have these dark circles. These dark circles are not because I don't try to sleep. I literally wish I could. I wish I could have the want to do it. It's just ultimately a fear. Now, obviously, the other thing that comes out of it is I worry about the damage I could cause to other people. Like, imagine if I'm on the road and I fall asleep in the middle because I didn't catch enough, right? Like, age catches up to you, you need more sleep, you end up getting more tired. That's the thing that fears me out a little bit. And that's one of the reasons why I want to address this problem as quick as I can. And that's not even addressing a new issue that my partner brought up. Like, in the middle of sleep, she tells me, like, sometimes I just don't breathe. Like, I just stop breathing. She has to, like, listen for a second. It's like, wait a minute. Okay, you're good. Like, that alone scares me. I didn't even know I had that issue. I had no clue. So, again, one of the things is I think I have come across an actual fix this time. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to make this video, okay? Like, the last time I talked about this 5 months ago, I said my issue was getting worse. So I decided to do something completely different, independent of all this. I actually started working out a little bit. Now, I'm not trying to get bulky and super duper like fit. I don't really have a need to do that. And I'm also trying not to get super duper muscular or anything. That's not my desire. What I care mostly about is fixing a back issue that I've had probably since 2018, 2017. Back then I was like walking around and I had a little bit of pain probably after like 30 minutes, an hour of walking around. And I was like, oh, it's probably I'm just getting old. Like, that's what I thought. But now, I would say in the last 2-3 years, if I move around and walk for more than a few minutes, the back problems get so severe that I absolutely have to sit down. And it's one of those things where I haven't gotten it, like, x-rayed, and I'm actually deathly afraid to get it x-rayed because I'm afraid to go to the doctor because I'm one of those ignorance is bliss type dudes when it comes to anything regarding, like, surgical procedures. Like, when it comes to, like, sleep stuff, it's like, you're going to give me melatonin, you're going to, like, probably give me a prescription or something. But usually when it comes to something like a back, I just don't want to know that I'm, like, I'm having, like, a degenerative issue over there, or I'm about to go, like, super paralyzed. Sometimes, I'm scared of finding out the truth. But in reality, I think it's just something to do with, like, a disc or whatever it is. And one of the fixes is, like, obviously getting surgery for it. And I've heard that, like, getting surgery on your back or surgery in general for that kind of stuff, anything near the spine can do a lot more to actually harm than actually heal. So for now, I'm kind of doing the workout stuff, and I'm trying to address it that way. I'm just going to see if, like, working out or, like, just living a more healthier lifestyle actually ends up fixing that. And if it does, awesome. If it doesn't, your boy's going to have to go under the fucking knife, and I'm going to have to get rods and shit stuck up my back or something around there to fix that problem. But there has been an unintended side effect, a very thankful side effect. And if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I feel like my sleep paralysis episodes have probably dropped down by half. And that is insane to me. You know, I feel like I've experienced far less ever since I've actively started like working out and stretching. And by working out, it's like, you know, mostly just like a very low intensity routine. I'm just trying to like keep more active, you know, just be more active. That's about it. I'm not doing like crazy weight lifts or anything of that nature. Just adding more activity to life, I think, has made me have more of a routine. If you ever notice, like my videos have been in the morning quite a fair bit, simply because it's just the time that I wake up, the time that I actually do a bit of workouts, you know, prayers and all that stuff. And then I have maybe an extra bit to catch a nap or two, maybe, but then I can immediately start getting with work and do other chores around very early on. And I think just having that routine, something about the routine. And I also think it's a lot to do with just the extra activity that is, I feel, reduced a lot of those sleep paralysis episodes. Before, it used to be waking up was pretty much mostly like I wake up, I'm going to feel a bad episode. And before I kind of end this video off, I want to describe like what's really freaky about this episode. So it's not just the paralysis. You have to understand your body is in the middle of dreaming. So when you're dreaming, sometimes you'll have these episodes at night, sometimes you'll have it in the morning. So for me, it's like having an auditory like hallucination, and the hallucination is usually just, it's just loud. It's just like, imagine if you're at a beach and you can hear the water like sort of rush in. Just imagine that at like 300% volume, okay? It just kind of drowns out every noise. And then of course, the weird feeling that I always have is like the feeling of just touching on the back of my neck. Now I've said in the past, it feels like somebody's gonna snap my neck, but a more apt description of this is, imagine like a spider or like an insect running across your neck, right? Like you just feel something running across. Just, you can feel it. You can feel the little like leg stab into you. You can just feel it. And it's weird. It's scary. And it's something you wish you could just swat away. It's something you wish you could stop. But because you're paralyzed, you kind of have to take whatever your body is dishing out on you. And most of it isn't real. And you know it's not real, but you can't do anything. But yeah, I started like doing a little bit of like workouts, and I feel like that has made some changes in my life that is worth kind of addressing. Now I've started eating a little bit better too. So, you know, there's a whole bunch of things that you start to do when you get a little bit older that you have to do because, you know, at some point your metabolism slows down. At some point you have to start taking care of yourself, whether you think about it or not. And I feel at this point, like the best effect that I've ever gotten is not just having a routine, but being able to somewhat fight the sleep paralysis stuff out there. And I've seen other people in the comment section bring up shit like psychedelics and other forms of like alternative help. And one of the things that I do want to kind of talk about is like, you should go to a doctor and like first off get advice from them. Okay, don't just get advice from the comment section. But generally, I've kind of learned with this is that there's a lot of ways to treat sleep stuff. Okay. And for everyone, it's different, okay? For everyone, sleep can be a big different issue. For some people, things like melatonin work. For some people, things like simply working out work. For some people, nothing works. And that's just one of the things that I wish hopefully gets addressed down the road. Like, if there was a way, like I said, if there was a brain chip that you could put in that could destroy all of these issues, or a pill that you can take, brother, I am just that would be like the golden drug for me. For some people, Ozempic is their golden drug. You know, I don't have to fucking work out. I can just lose all my weight. For me, if there was a fucking sleepy pill that would like empty out all these issues, you know, deal with your insomnia, deal with sleep paralysis, deal with every issue that you've had, bro, I would give every dime that I had to fund that fucking research and fund that drug. You know, that would be pretty much the wonder drug for me. That and like Alzheimer's cures out there. That would be the craziest shit that I would see. But ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar, and there's some good news. There's some actual, honest-to-God good news. And if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe, just like I am out.